a major trade shakeup is unfolding, making waves far beyond North America. Canada has dropped a bombshell by suggesting a whopping 100% tariff on Tesla, America's poster child for electric cars. But this isn't just about one company. It's a bold response to former President Trump's tariff-heavy trade policies. And if it moves forward, it could flip the entire North American auto market on its head. Canada isn't just slamming the brakes on American EVs. It's rolling out the red carpet for European electric cars. This shift could hit the US auto industry hard, shaking up a trade partnership that's long been worth around $50 billion a year in cars and essential metals like aluminum and steel. Why target Tesla? It's not just another car brand. It's the king of US electric vehicles, holding a massive 70% of the market. Slapping a 100% tariff on Tesla could push prices up by $5,000 or more in Canada, making it a much tougher sell. With steeper price tags, Canadian buyers might look elsewhere, giving European car makers a golden opportunity to swoop in. This could leave Tesla struggling to keep its foothold north of the border and spark a major reshuffle in the EV market. This decision could set off a chain reaction of problems far beyond just Tesla. Tesla's investors could take a big hit as sales drop, profits shrink, and stock prices go down. Losing sales in Canada, a key market, could mess with Tesla's bigger plans for growth and expansion in North America. Investors might start to question how stable the company really is, and that nervousness could spread across the entire electric vehicle market. The EV industry, which has been growing at full speed, might suddenly slam the brakes as production costs go up and car prices rise. Fewer people might be able to afford electric vehicles, seriously slowing down the push for clean energy and delaying efforts to cut carbon emissions and protect the planet. Tesla now finds itself at the center of this trade storm. Can a single tariff really shake up the entire US auto industry? Absolutely. The ripple effect could be massive. Tesla isn't just another American car company. It's the face of the global EV movement. The company plans to sell over 1 million cars worldwide this year, with more than 50,000 of those sales coming from Canada. But if Canada goes through with this 100% tariff, the price of a Tesla in Canada could skyrocket. Imagine this: a Tesla Model 3, which currently sells for about $40,000, could suddenly cost around $80,000. That kind of price tag would put it out of reach for most buyers. It's not just Tesla that's at risk. The entire North American auto industry could feel the heat. Big names like General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler could all get caught in the crossfire. Canada produces over 2 million cars every year, many of which are shipped straight to the US. If these tariff fights spiral, factories could shut down, leaving thousands of workers without jobs and shaking the entire industry. Canada's auto industry pulls in about $50 billion every year. But this brewing trade war is threatening to throw a wrench into the entire North American economy. How did it all get to this point? And why didn't the US see Canada's bold move coming? When one of America's biggest trade partners decides to push back, things get messy fast. And that's exactly what just happened. Canada threw down the gauntlet, and the Trump administration completely blindsided trade between the US and Canada. Trade between the US and Canada is massive, over $800 billion a year. So there's a lot of money on the line. Instead of folding under US pressure, Canada hit back hard. They slapped retaliatory tariffs on American goods, opened doors to new markets, and tightened ties with the European Union, all to safeguard their economy. But what triggered this all-out trade brawl? It all started when the Trump administration ramped up its America First trade strategy, slapping hefty tariffs on Canadian and European imports, with the goal of protecting US industries. The result: a major backlash, chaos in supply chains, higher consumer prices, soaring fuel costs, and a real threat to jobs on both sides of the border. If you've noticed gas prices creeping up or grocery bills getting heavier, this might be why. What's even scarier is that this kind of tit-for-tat could spiral. The Trump administration's risky decision sparked a global trade war where no one truly wins. Why did they take this chance? And did they misjudge Canada's response? It turns out Canada wasn't going to stay silent. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau immediately called the US tariffs unfair, warning they would harm both economies, then retaliated with tariffs on US steel, aluminum, and even essentials like beef, dairy, and fresh produce, sending a clear message of defiance. But Trudeau went further, fast-tracking trade deals with the EU and countries like Indonesia and Ecuador to reduce Canada's reliance on US markets. This was more than a short-term fix. It was a long-term strategy to strengthen Canada's economic position and pressure the US. Then came the game-changing move. Canada and the EU formed a strategic minerals alliance to challenge China's dominance in crucial sectors like lithium, cobalt, and nickel, the backbone of clean energy and high-tech industries. With China controlling over 90% of the global supply, Canada and the EU are building their own supply chains to reduce dependence on China. This bold move is not just about securing resources, but also sends a strong message to the US to stay ahead in smart trade strategies, or risk losing out on the future of energy. Meanwhile, Europe's unease about the US's unpredictable foreign policies under Trump's leadership grew, especially after the US held secret talks with Russia about Ukraine without consulting its European allies. This was a wake-up call, and Europe quickly began organizing meetings to strengthen military partnerships, tighten defense supply chains, and boost military spending, pushing for greater independence from NATO. Canada and Europe are quietly forging a new global path, one that doesn't always seek Washington's approval first. As the US-Canada trade tensions escalate, industries previously thought unaffected are now caught in the crossfire, including American farmers. The US imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian products, including agricultural exports like grains, meat, and dairy. Canada retaliated with tariffs on US crops, including corn, soybeans, and beef, hitting American farmers hard. US export costs skyrocketed, making it difficult to find new buyers, and the dairy industry faced massive losses. US dairy, once a major export to Canada, became too expensive, collapsing demand and driving down prices at home. Corn and soybean farmers also faced tough times, with prices plummeting and leaving them stuck with unsold crops. Livestock producers, too, are struggling as the cost of exporting meat to Canada soared, making US beef and pork too expensive for Canadian buyers. This has resulted in falling prices, and farmers are scrambling to find new markets. The impact isn't just short-term. The fallout could leave lasting scars on the agricultural sector, with gaps forming in the global supply chain which countries like China and Mexico are ready to exploit. The EU is eyeing the chance to fill the void and increase their exports, as American and Canadian farmers are falling behind. US farmers are trying to fight back by turning to high-tech farming methods, like precision agriculture, which can boost efficiency and cut waste. But these tools come with a hefty price tag, and many farmers can't afford the investment due to sinking profits. This financial strain is pushing the farming world toward big changes, with small family-owned farms, the backbone of American agriculture, finding it harder to survive. Some are being forced to sell out to larger agribusinesses, accelerating farm consolidation and reshaping rural communities. It's not just about money, there's an emotional toll too, as farmers are under massive stress, watching their livelihoods slip away. This pressure is taking a serious hit on mental health in farming communities where support can be hard to find. Meanwhile, a large portion of the energy powering American homes and businesses comes from Canada, which serves as a key fuel source for the US economy. If Canada suddenly stops supplying energy, it could lead to skyrocketing gas prices, factory shutdowns, and energy shortages, especially during winter when heating becomes essential. US states like New York and Vermont rely heavily on hydroelectric power from Quebec, and the loss of this supply could lead to blackouts and energy crises. Canada also supplies uranium for US nuclear plants, and if that supply chain were interrupted, it could cause chaos in the energy market. If Canada were to redirect its energy exports to China or Europe instead of the US, it would take time and a massive investment to build new infrastructure. But the ripple effects would be brutal. Energy prices would rise, industries would suffer, and shortages would worsen, leading to widespread economic pain. The energy ties between the US and Canada are critical to North America's economy, and disrupting them would cause major instability. Meanwhile, Canada has been strengthening its global ties, striking new trade agreements with the European Union as trade tensions with the US rise, reducing its dependence on its southern neighbour